I'm James Edwards. I'm the Senior Director of IT Governance, Planning and Strategy at Encore Capital Group.
Wonderful. And I'm Marshall Kirkpatrick. Thanks so much for joining us here.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
James, would you begin by talking to us a little bit about the problem space as you understand it? What does the challenge of security and privacy with regard to data, what is it blocking organizations from doing? What do the challenges look like?
Yeah, so every organization nowadays is so reliant on data, and that includes a whole mix of data that they own themselves, that they don't own, that they're using from kind of third parties, partners, customers. And I think that's the real key, is unlocking the power of that means being able to share it effectively between all those different groups. And I feel like that's a real barrier today, is just that ability to really unlock the value of data, because people aren't able to share it in a way that's kind of safe, secure, and enables that ability to unlock the value.
Have you got a favorite story, an example of an organization that really wanted to but was blocked prior to confidential computing?
Not so much one that was blocked, but I think we saw last year there was a MoveIt data breach. MoveIt are an organisation that provides SFTP services, and I think that was a wake-up call to the financial services industry, to just how reliant they were on exchanging files over SFTP and kind of moving data around in ways that really aren't as secure as they should be. Secure enough for people to be confident with them, but clearly still at risk, as a lot of people found out. So I think that's the example I'd use to say where that's been a real wake-up call for the industry, I think, in terms of we need to do better in terms of our ability to share data in secure ways.
Great. So whether it's defensive or offensive, security or innovation, what are the positive business outcomes? What's newly enabled once confidential computing has been effectively implemented in an organization?
So for us, it's been around kind of trust between us and our partners. So, previously we would say to them, we need to use your data, and there's benefit for both of us in doing that. This is a mutual beneficial kind of relationship, but there's some risk involved. You're going to have to trust us to protect your data, to look after it, to make sure that we're not doing dumb things with it. And the worst case scenario for us is losing someone else's data. So that's what confidential computing has really kind of opened up for us, is the ability to say, actually, you don't need to trust us, because this comes with attestation from the manufacturers. You can trust these organizations, and we can evidence that, and your security team can kind of go through that. So it's that kind of ability to really say you can be confident in kind of what we're doing, not because you have trust in us, but because you have trust in this kind of verified, certified product that we're using.
That's fantastic. Do you have any sense quantitatively of the impact of that?
It's difficult to quantify it, but I think it's given us confidence to explore ideas that we wouldn't have done previously. There's examples where there's data that we just wouldn't want to touch because we wouldn't want to inherit that risk. We wouldn't want to be responsible for that data. So examples where we're taking data from credit reference agencies, for example, about consumers. We would want to keep that at arm's length, whereas now we're really able to go to those organizations and say, we can protect that data if you're willing to share it with us, and here's how we can make you comfortable with that. So it kind of opens up a lot of possibilities that we just wouldn't have even considered before, or would have ruled out very quickly. And I think now we can kind of take those conversations further and really explore what those use cases look like.
Sounds like perhaps whole new products.
Potentially, yeah. How
is your strategic thinking changing right now? What are some fresh reorientation thoughts that you or your organization have had with regard to confidential computing?
Yeah, so for us, a big thing is kind of leveraging our capabilities globally. So we're an organization that operates over multiple regions, different countries, and regulation is very different between those different regions. Particularly between the US and Europe, there's some pretty significant differences in regulation, and that's where something that I see, confidential computing will really start to move the dial on. The ability to move data around. And again, there's been various attempts over the years, things like safe harbor, in order to allow more data sharing between different regulatory environments, and they've all kind of failed for different reasons. But that's something that I see confidential computing could really be the answer for, that could really allow that kind of global sharing of data, both within organizations, but then also between different organizations.
Big picture, where do you see this going, and where do you hope that the confidential computing industry does go?
I think there's an awareness challenge at the minute. Not that many people yet know about confidential computing. So I think once the word gets out, there'll be kind of exponential growth. I see that as something that's still to come to a certain degree. And I think the AI kind of revolution is going to drive that. That's the way that people will discover this stuff. The natural progression, I think, for people is to get excited about AI because of the possibility, and then to get very nervous about the consequences of doing that. And then that naturally leads on to, so how do we protect ourselves? How do we give ourselves more confidence? How do we make ourselves feel less nervous about doing those things? And I think that leads directly to kind of confidential computing solutions. And so that's what I see as kind of really driving a kind of an increase in visibility.
We're here at the Confidential Computing Summit, led by Opaque Systems, and you've got some history of collaborating with Opaque. I wonder if you could talk to us about that history.
Yeah, so we're pretty early in our process with Opaque, to be honest. So we're still looking at proof of concept and pilots, but we're really excited about the potential of that, and particularly the speed to market that we think we can get with Opaque as we kind of build out some of those solutions. You know, the ability to take a kind of turnkey solution without having to figure out all of the complexities of building a confidential computing platform for ourselves is really attractive. So that's where we're really looking to kind of partner with Opaque and be able to build and develop solutions really quickly.